Have you ever wondered how the ultra-wealthy spend a random Tuesday afternoon? Well, I did. And I'm not talking about 5-star dining or private jets. That's entry-level rich. I'm talking about the insane world of billionaires who casually spend 6 figures in a single day, just for fun. From things like private Disney World theme park nights to real-life space missions. These are the 5 most over-the-top, jaw-dropping, one-day experiences money can buy. And they're all right here in the US. And stick around for number 1 because it literally can cost more than most people make in a lifetime. And with all that out of the way, on with the show. And starting off with number 5, we have Zero Gravity Flight from Zero Gravity Corporation. If you have ever dreamed about floating like an astronaut like myself, then this is probably the closest you'll ever get to doing so without leaving Earth, or at least Earth's atmosphere. You start with a plane, a Boeing 727, 0G's G-Force 1, which flies repeated parabolic arcs, also known as vomit comet style, giving you 20 seconds of float time on each arc. This is a 90-minute flight that is basically giving you space training without leaving Earth. And you're at an altitude of around 4.5 to 6.5 miles. I do say around because you bounce between those two to get the parabolic arc. And don't worry, this is not way above or way below the commercial airlines. This is similar to the cruising altitudes of commercial airliners. And you can do this at a number of places. Typically it's done in Florida or California, but I'll have on screen though other places. But there are other places in which you can do this. But how much is this going to cost? Well, per person, this is $8,900. But we're talking about the ultra wealthy. Now, instead of buying a single seat, the ultra wealthy can charter the entire Zero-G plane. The Zero Gravity Corporation offers a whole plane option. This includes the exclusive use of the G-Force 1, up to 28 people, and 15 parabolic arcs, and 1 dedicated photographer. And how much is this going to cost for you and your friends? Well, for an ultra wealthy person, this is really not that much. It's only $259,000 plus tax. Not really all that bad in the grand scheme of things. $9,000 per person, that's going to be the cheapest thing on here. And the prices from here, they just keep going up. And number 4 on our list, we have a private Magic Kingdom after hours. Now, they say you can't buy happiness, but you can rent the most magical place on Earth, which does come with a pretty hefty price tag. You can literally rent out Disney's Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World after closing for a private event. Once the park closes to the general public, your event will start about 2 to 3 hours after the park actually closes, and then the whole place is yours. This includes an exclusive ceremony or event in front of Cinderella Castle, and after the ceremony, everyone in attendance heads over to Fantasyland for a magical candlelit dinner. And of course, you also have the full staff, private rides, characters, and catered food. And of course, there are add-ons like fireworks and horse-drawn carriage. You can add those on for an extra cost, and of course, your ultra-wealthy would. You get the whole Magic Kingdom for about 3 hours. You get all the characters, all the rides, all to yourself. How much is this going to cost your super wealthy? Well, between $180,000 and $300,000 plus. And when I say plus, that also depends on what services they want to tack on. Because you can also tack on things like fireworks and horse-drawn carriages, which jack up the price even more. And then there's also other add-ons, which just keep going up and up and up in price. But you're looking at around $180,000 to $300,000. But that's just Magic Kingdom. That's not including Epcot or anything. That's just Magic Kingdom. But it's the entire park, which is really amazing. And at number 3, we have chartering a private super yacht. From Fraser Yachts, of course, the most elegant place you can go. The most expensive one I could find, too. At Fraser Yachts, you can charter a massive yacht for a day. And this will run you somewhere in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. For example, you can charter the 318-foot Caranthea 7, fully loaded with amenities like pool, spa, 33 crew members, helipad, elevator, air conditioning, cranes, gym, hair and beauty salon, Hammond, hot tub, private owner's deck, spa, underwater lights, Wi-Fi, dumbwaiter, and massage room. And yes, you actually do get a real dumbwaiter, not that guy. That way you don't even have to look at that guy, and you can just get your own stuff right from the bottom galley brought up to you by a little elevator. And essentially, this is a floating palace is what you're getting for a day. And where can you do this at? Well, typically you can get Fraser Yachts from Miami, Newport, and Hawaii. But how much is this going to cost you? Well, Just for fun, I wanted to check how much it was for a week. I know this is based on a day, but I had to know. And it's $1.5 million per week. But we're not doing that. It would cost you, though, roughly $215,000 per day. But that's not counting your captain's fee, fuel, and catering, which you can add about another 30-40% for that. Comes up to about $300,000+. To be wealthy would be nice. And moving on to number 2, we have Virgin Galactic Suborbital Spaceflight. This one is not a plane, but it's an actual rocket ship. You launch from Spaceport America, which is in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Virgin Galactic utilizes an air launch system for its suborbital spaceflight. Basically, you board the VSS Unity, the rocket ship here, which is carried by a carrier plane called the White Knight 2, this one here, carrying the VSS Unity to an altitude of around 50,000 feet before being released. Then you go to an altitude of about 50 to 55 miles. And after a short boost, the cabin experiences 3 to 4 minutes of weightlessness and really stunning views of the Earth against the black space. And then they say the ship glides back down to the runway in New Mexico. Really, it's falling down gracefully. That's my opinion. You can take a look at the video, but it looks like it's falling down gracefully and then glides. Virgin Galactic offers a one-day space thrill for about $600,000 a seat. Essentially, this is a super fast joyride at the edge of space that is literally a billionaire's day trip. And before I get to number 1, if you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and check out my website at americantravel.fun, where we have tools and resources and a blog about different locations and tips and tricks throughout the US and its territories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, back to the show. And last but not least, we have Blue Origin Suborbital Flight. Now, I know we just had a suborbital flight, but this one is different. This one's going to cost you. This one's really for the true super wealthy. This is a seat on Jeff Bezos' New Shepard rocket, which cost in the multi-million range. Not hundreds of thousands, multi-million range. Well, the Blue Origin capsule carries you just above the Kármán line, 66 miles, for just a few minutes of microgravity. And when I say just a few minutes, I literally mean just a few minutes. The whole flight lasts around 11 minutes from liftoff to capsule touching down on the ground, with the passengers experiencing only 3 minutes of weightlessness. Yeah, 3 minutes. You're going to strap a big rocket to your ass and go up for 3 minutes of weightlessness. That does not sound very bright. But hey, I'm not a billionaire. What do I know? And during your 3 minutes of weightlessness, you get to float above the Earth yourself, inside the capsule, and you get to see the thin atmosphere below, which would be really a beautiful sight. I ain't gonna lie, that would be amazing. Then you gently return to Earth under a parachute to West Texas. Now, how much does this cost? Well, that's the thing. The very first auction seat sold was $28 million. Yeah, that's completely ridiculous, $28 million. It's just to be the very first seat. We're several years past that, so now the standard ticket, which is estimated because you can't actually get it unless you have a $150,000 down deposit, and then you get to have a phone call with them and get to check out the actual price and all that stuff. You have to prove that you're rich enough to do it. I can't prove that, so this is estimated. But the standard price ticket estimated is between $1.25 and $1.5 million, and that's really the starting price because it's just the standard ticket. And yes, that $150,000 is refundable. I did find that out. Your $1.5 million also does include astronaut training, a souvenir suit, and of course bragging rights for life. I mean, I would be bragging, I know that. And where can you do this sort of thing? Well, you can go to Van Horn, Texas. That's where they take off and land, in that general vicinity. So there you have it. 5 ridiculous ways to spend 6 figures or more in a single day, all without leaving the US. So what do you think? Would you do any of these if money was no object, or are you still having a heart attack from these prices? Let me know down in the comments below. And again, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have fun, guys.
If you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, click the bell, and check out our website, www.americatravel.fun.